Welcome to Unleash Leadership, the podcast where bold leaders and changemakers come together to share their stories, strategies, and insights for creating a lasting impact on society. Karla Blanco is your host. For over 28 years, she has been navigating the complexities of the corporate and government worlds, a journey that's taught her that authentic leadership isn't just about climbing the ladder. It's about lifting others as you rise. Along the way, she uncovered the unwritten rules that drive success, the ones no one tells you about, but that can define your career and legacy. On this podcast, she'll sit down with extraordinary guests from around the globe, leaders, visionaries, and innovators who are leaving their mark on the world. Together, they'll explore their journeys, uncover their tips and tricks, and dive into the challenges they've overcome to inspire you to excel in whatever you're facing. Whether you're climbing the corporate ranks, building your personal brand, or leading change in your community, this podcast is your space to grow, learn, and unleash the leader within. So grab a notebook, get ready to take action, and join us on this journey to unleash our leadership potential. Before we dive in, make sure to follow Karla on Instagram, LinkedIn at Karla Blanco Coach, Karla with a K, and YouTube at Karla Blanco Show to stay connected and get even more leadership tips and updates.
Our guest today, Lorena Blanco, a true example of courageous leadership. Lorena transitioned from the corporate world as an engineer to motherhood, and now transforms brief moments into timeless memories. She brings the best of humanity to life through her lens, specializing in capturing the unique essence of babies, individuals, and families. She creates stunning visual stories that resonate on a deeply personal level. With an intuitive eye for detail and a passion for authenticity, she turns everyday scenes into extraordinary works of art. Every click of her camera is a step towards preserving your most cherished memories, ensuring that the love, joy, and connection you experience today are beautifully captured for generations to come. Welcome, Lorena. It's a pleasure to have you here in Unleash Leadership.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here too. Thank you, Karla, for inviting me on.
And thank you. And I know that our audience will love your story.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I will appreciate if you can share a little bit about how did you set up your business after working in corporate America many years ago.
Yeah, so I started my business almost a decade ago. I left corporate America right after my second child. When I was pregnant with my second child, I knew that I wanted to be present more in the moment. I wanted to, just be there for my kids. As you know, sometimes corporate America is 24/7, or it can feel like it's 24/7. And after my son was born, I felt like I wanted to be there more, but it was hard. Or we'd had to drop him off early and then pick him up late. So the time that I was spending with him was little. And then also, even though I had an undergrad in logistics and I had an MBA. I feel like I wasn't really like doing something I was passionate about. Like, I loved my work, but I passionate about it? Not really. And so at that moment, after when I found out I was pregnant, I decided, I'm gonna take a leap of faith and just start doing something that I truly like to do. And fast forward, almost a decade later, here I am. So, yeah.
Oh, that is really interesting. Tell us about your business so that
Yeah.
audience can learn about it.
Absolutely. So the name of my business is Little Legacies Studio. I run a portrait fine art photography business, and my main goal is to really. It started off as newborn and maternity. To be honest, it started off as a newborn and maternity, and it was really just inspired out of my own pregnancies. As you know, being pregnant and having a baby, you want to capture these beautiful moments in life, but you don't feel your best, right? Like, everything just gets bigger. nothing fits. And, I had, I was on my second pregnancy, and I really wanted to capture these moments, but I wasn't feeling my best. So after that, after I gave birth, I kept reflecting back on these pictures that were timeless or were amazing to me. But I was like, man, I wish I could have like taken like a more glamorous picture, a more beautiful picture, and what that would look like for me. So that's where it all started, right? Especially for my son, we were able to find a newborn photographer, which was great. But for my second pregnancy, we were in a different state. We didn't know anybody, so I felt like I didn't have that experience for me. So that was just something that just lingered in the back of my head and lingered in the back of my head. And as I spoke to different mamas, they didn't know also like how to look their best while being pregnant and how to capture these beautiful moments. So that's how it all started. So the business now encompasses, I have a hair and makeup artist on staff, and she's really truly amazing, which makes mamas feel beautiful and glamorous. And then I've stocked my client closet with amazing, beautiful couture gowns, which just really elevates that mama, where now you have hair and makeup and you have like this beautiful gown, and they feel like goddesses, and that's my goal. I want you to feel beautiful and elegant and goddess while you're in the studio. And as my family has grown, I've really started expanding the business into families, because we want to capture these beautiful moments, right? With the family. So I've started branching out into families. As you know, my husband's a speaker, so I've done a lot of his speaker or his branding for his business. So it's just evolved into that. I've had a book author come in as well, doctors that also need portraits for their branding, CEOs, things like that. So it's kind of evolved. This little business has evolved as time went on, and I think what I loved about it so far is it's mostly like people that have trusted me with these timeless images, and being able to really elevate that experience for them, if it's hair and makeup or just having a session and talk about like what to wear, how to look their best, so we can have this wonderful experience for them in the studio.
I love it
Yeah.
because you are really intuitive.
Oh, thank
And
you.
so you tell stories
I do. Yes.
by using your lens and looking into things in very different ways. Are there any people in your life that really inspired you to have like that different perspective and connecting the dots of those special moments to create those memories that you create with your photography?
Absolutely. So, I'm first generation in this country, and when I go, when my mother take my family's Mexican, so when we go back to Mexico, I remember when I was a teenager, I would go into one of my aunt's house, and they had pictures of my grandfather because he fought in the Mexican Revolution when they're trying to, Mexico for Mexicans. And, here he is with his, full on army suit and things like that. And those to me are priceless memories, right? Or, and not only that, but there's very little memories of my family back in the day. Right. And then my mother when she was a child. And then, being first generation immigrants, my mother, they didn't invest in portraits and they didn't invest. So all of those very limited pictures that we have of us when we were little are just priceless to me. And my husband will tell you now, like, I take family pictures as often as possible, especially of my kids. And now when I look back, my son is 10 and my daughter's about to be 8. But when I look back, I just start bawling, right? Because I see them and how little they were and how, chunky they were and things like that, or just how they've evolved. Or when my son lost his 2 front teeth, and then my daughter too, right? And those are the images that just bring tears to my eyes, where I'm like, I'm so grateful for these images, right? So, or those are like the small times, or those times when I'm like, oh my God, I don't only get to capture this for my family, but I also get to do that for other families as well, right?
Thank you so
So,
much. That
yeah.
is so inspiring. And also you are the storyteller, and that has an impact. There is a say about we are the stories we tell.
Yes.
So that has an impact on our personal brand.
Yes.
And you mentioned how your business has been growing, and you are getting CEOs, speakers, authors, etc. How the pictures and the photography plays in the brand of the people.
Yes, absolutely. So that's a very interesting concept. So what I've learned over the years from photographing the different people and their walks of life is essentially that everybody has a story to tell or in a brand that they want to be seen in, or the different light they want to be seen in. Like I had a CEO come through, and I knew she was a very influential woman in Arizona. And when I was posing her, I saw she wanted to come through as, as this great woman, and I'm like, let's capture that for you, right? Let's capture that for you. And then when I had a doctor come in, and he wanted to seem like he was everybody has, like I said, a brand, and he wanted to seem more like, I've done this research because of my patients, right? That's what he was trying to perceive, or what we were trying to capture for him. Or the book author, like, this is my passion. It was the avocado tree, which was a story about her life and her father, who had passed away, and just trying to capture that in this in her session, right, was very important. So whether you are a CEO of a company, or you just had your first child, or you're trying to take a picture of your family, everybody's trying to tell a story, and that is the brand at the moment, at that time and place, right? Whether it be your family or your professional life, I feel like, right? So that's how it's been.
Thank you for
Yeah.
creating those experiences for people and families,
Yeah.
because it's really enjoyable.
Absolutely.
Yes, I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate that. And I know in your heart you are full of gratitude for your mom and everything she did for you
Yes.
growing up. How those lessons that you were taught out of love
Hmm.
help you in your business and in life in general?
Yeah. So I promised myself I wasn't going to cry. So my mother only had a middle school education, right? She grew up in a village, and education was not a priority in the village, right? Because she is one of 11 children. And so at the time, the priority was to put food on the table, not for her to go to school, especially being one of the oldest kids. And in her 30s, right around the age when I started my business, we were four kids at the time. We were, low income. We were a low income family, is what considered in Houston, Texas. And at that time, she decided she was going to go back to college. She was going to start a college degree, a community college degree, as a cosmetologist. And I was like, Mom, I mean, my mother, she's very old fashioned. So she had dinner on the table every night. God bless her heart, because I can't even do that, you know? So we always had a hot meal on the table every night. And we always had breakfast, send us off to school, and manage the house. My father would always be traveling, trying to get gigs and things like this. He was a self contractor, or tried to be. So she managed the four of us. I was the oldest at the time. I was probably in middle school, and I was just like, I don't know how this woman is going to do it. Like, how is my mother going to manage all of us? There was a toddler in the house at the time, right? One thing I knew about her is that she loved learning. She wanted to go to school. She used to tell me stories about when she was little, how she would sit next to a candle at the time, because electricity was not something that was, um, something that ran through the town. And she used to sit by a candle when everybody went to bed, trying to do her homework. And so seeing her go back to school, and I could never, like, in my mind, I never saw her come home with less than a B, an A minus, maybe. She always had like these amazing grades, and when it was time for her to take the test, I remember she aced it on the first try, you know and that was just such an inspiration to me, to like, I can't bring home a B minus or a B like my mother. She's,
Amazing.
getting A's in school. How can I like come home with the B? So don't get me wrong. Fast now talking about me when I was like in that time where I'm like, okay, do I continue with corporate America or do I stay home and start my own business? It was difficult. It wasn't an easy decision. Me and my husband, we talked about it a lot, and I think that was one of the pivotal moments for me where I reflected on my mother, right? And I would talk to her and I was like, if she could do it, I can do it too, right? And when I spoke to her about it, she's like, you can do it. I was able to do it and I know you can do it too. There's nothing that you cannot do. And for me, she was the example. She not only told me about it, but she was the example for me that she made it happen. So that was for me. I would always be grateful for her and the example she said on, the love of learning and the love of never stop learning, right? Even till this day, she keeps up with her license, even though she's not in the industry anymore. But she wants to keep up with her license just in case she ever wants to go back. And to me, that she could have, to me that's remarkable because she could have just said, I'm not going to be in this anymore. She's 60 now, or in her mid 60s, but she's like, I'm gonna keep with it. You know.
You are a testament of the impact of leading by example and the perseverance, that discipline of your mom, and aspiring always to the best. So now I understand why you
Yeah.
have this amazing business where you pour yourself. All your love are reflected in those beautiful portraits.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
And I would love to know what unleash leadership means to you.
Yeah. To me, so that's a beautiful, beautiful, phrase to me because to me is being your authentic self, right? And actually following your passion, right? Because, like I said, working for corporate America, it wasn't that I wasn't happy. Yes, I was happy, but was I myself? Maybe not, right? I feel like now I'm able to use the creative side that I had suppressed for so many years, right? Not only that, but like when you see me out in public, I'm always so colorful. Oh, I try to be as colorful as possible, whether it be with what I'm wearing or the accessories I'm wearing and things like that. And I feel like this is who I wanted to be my entire life, right? And even though corporate America it's a wonderful place to start off and make and build your career, but I do feel it was more like it's very traditional, right? You have to wear traditional colors and things like this. And maybe if I brought in a bright yellow something, and I'm like, why is she wearing that? you know and I'm able to use what I feel are gifts that I've learned and acquired over the years to really help families cherish these times in their lives, right? So for me, unleashing leadership is like really try to understand who you are and what your gifts are in life, and then using them to help people, right? Or using them to better the community around you. And that has been very important for me. And it wasn't until, it was because if it wasn't because of my kids, I felt, I would probably, still be working for corporate America, probably would have been a workaholic and trying to manage stress and things like that. I'm not saying I don't have stress, but I have a different type of stress, right? And I feel like even though, yes, there can be stress, but at the end of the day, I'm doing something that I'm passionate about, that I absolutely love. And I love it when my clients come back and they tell me how these priceless memories are like heirlooms, in their family, or how, now they have like this big wall art in their homes that I helped get for their homes and things like this. And those things make me so happy. Or to hear my client's journey and how I was able to capture this moment for them. Now they're able to share with their family, and it's something that they're going to have for the rest of their lives, and that they'll be able to share it with their kids as they get older, right? So that for me is like my mission in life. I feel has been is being fulfilled.
Oh, I love it
Yeah,
because you are creating these special memories for families.
absolutely.
We have in the audience entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Do you have a message, a closing message for them of
Yeah.
how they are aspiring? If they are aspiring to create a business, what will you tell them?
Yes, yes. So something that I feel like I learned from later on in the business as I've grown and evolved is, as entrepreneurs, we wear multiple hats, right? You are the CEO, you are the CFO, you are the marketing director, you are the brand person, you are so many things. But as I progress, and if I wanted my baby, my business to grow, I need to let go of those things, some of those things, right? And it was so hard for me. I know I'm not an accountant. Although I try to be sometimes, it's like, "That's not gonna happen." So just really just let it go and hire someone to come and help you in the business. It's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to outsource that part of your business because, you are not the expert in it, and just letting an expert deal with that and having to, manage that for you, it's okay. And I think that, and not only that, but there's other things in the business where you feel like that is I should be taking care of that. I should have, the finger on the pulse, right? And that sometimes is not bringing value to you as an artist, right? You as an artist, you are the creative, you are the brand, the brand, the face behind the brand, things like this. And that's what we need to be focusing on, and let the rest of the things be taken care of by other professionals who know what they're doing and probably could do it faster and more efficient than you can.
I love that
Yeah,
because just by focusing on your strengths, you
absolutely.
definitely flourish and add even more value. So leverage the strengths of others to
Absolutely.
enable you be your best.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Lorena, for joining us and
Thank you,
for
Carla.
all the sharings.
Oh,
Looking forward to have you later.
absolutely. Thank you, Carla, for having me on. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Thank you. You
Bye.
too. Thanks.